Good on, guys. My name's Ethan, the Netflix Gamer, and today I want to talk to you about a company I personally think Netflix needs to buy to expand its push into gaming, and how this company could actually benefit Netflix in the long as well as benefit the company as well. Now, for those who don't know, I want to put a disclaimer out here before I obviously make this video. I do own shares in both Atari and Netflix, so I'm a little bit biased. Obviously, I need to disclose that, but I want to see Netflix make a bid to acquire the game company Atari for many reasons. Now, first of all, for those who don't know, Netflix games, obviously, that as we know of, has had quite a sort of so-so, sort of weakish offering, in my opinion, of games because the games they've offered, obviously, are mostly mobile games, obviously, and there's nothing wrong with just mobile games, but obviously, there's not really been any nostalgic games, not really been any retro games, and there's not really been any more modern games that aren't really mobile games. Now, obviously, we know Shredder's Revenge is coming to Netflix games in 2023, but I personally feel like getting Atari would be a huge beneficial thing for Netflix right now because it would include titles like the Atari Recharge series of games, Atari Mania, Combinera, a bunch of classic games like Missile Command. You'd get Breakout, you'd get Pong, a bunch of casual games which would help Netflix games sort of pushing more into the casual market because that seems to be the market Netflix is going for at the minute. And they could slowly transition into other things. Obviously, they can make games based on more games based on some of the other IPs. They could obviously make some TV shows and movies based on some other IPs. Now, there are some positives and negatives with this on both sides. The first positive I see is obviously it makes Netflix have a huge game library. Games such as Missile Command, Centipede, Breakout. These are casual games that people know, people love, and these could obviously help boost Netflix games subscription, or not even subscription offerings, but really just content offerings. Because then suddenly you've got like a bunch of new games. Not to mention, it also allows Netflix to be able to use these system or Atari games and Atari systems in their other media projects like film and TV without having to pay a licensing fee to Atari. And obviously, third of all, Atari's not really worth that much. Atari's not really that much of a major company. It's not a major publisher like it used to be. They'd probably be sold for only a few million at most. So I kind of see Netflix not going for Atari being quite a big mistake on Netflix's part. Now, obviously, Atari also has their home console, which to me would be kind of a negative for Netflix to get involved in. I don't think Netflix should get into home console gaming. I think Netflix should go straight into cloud gaming, try and dominate that market whilst it's still quite young, still quite early on, and see how it goes. Now, will this happen? Now, I don't personally know if it's going to happen or not. Obviously, I own shares in both companies. I want to see it happen. I reckon a merged Netflix games and Atari would be a huge win. But there's also the other big downside that we haven't discussed, and that's the fact that Atari doesn't actually have an in-house game studio anymore. It's basically just a publisher. So if Netflix bought Atari, they'd be buying a game library, some IP, and a name. Which it's take that as you will. You think that's a good thing? You can. Obviously, Netflix can set up their own studio based on for Atari IP and whatnot. That would be 100% fine. It just all comes down to like if Netflix would want to do it. Would Netflix want to put the money there? Would Netflix want to, invest in those IPs? Are those IPs worth it to Netflix? And personally, to me, as an investor of both companies, I kind of want to see it happen just so the Atari legacy can live on. Because Atari seems to be having a hard time growing as a company, a hard time making money in a lot of cases. So to me, I personally think Netflix buying Atari and utilizing Atari's IP library, their knowledge of gaming, and the fact that they've had the history of selling games, seeing what sells, seeing what doesn't sell. Adding those games to Netflix games would benefit Netflix in such a big way by acquiring Atari. They suddenly have hundreds of new games added to their service, and it just kind of makes it more stand out. Not to mention when it comes to cloud gaming, Atari's already worked on porting games to Google Stadia, which obviously is now shut down. Well, it's not shut down, but obviously if you can't buy games on it anymore. But after Atari had worked on ports for Google Stadia, surely Atari would be able to port their newer games or work with developers to port their newer games to Netflix cloud gaming Netflix cloud gaming option. It all comes down to what Netflix is willing to do. If Netflix is willing to spend the money, I think it would be a good get. Personally, I would ditch to VS console, or if obviously Netflix did buy Atari, or I would think Netflix could utilize the Atari VCS console as like, hey, this is the Netflix game console, but I doubt they would do that. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you want to see Netflix buy Atari? Do you think this is a good deal, bad deal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If If you're new here, you're new to Netflix Gamer, and you're interested in everything Netflix Gaming, whether it be news, reviews, gameplays, whatever, make sure you subscribe, because I put out new videos whenever I can. Obviously, I put out new videos on all range of different topics about Netflix games. We've done stuff about Dr. Seuss Enterprises, Roald Dahl, Miller World, Netflix casual gaming, Netflix family friendly gaming. Let me know your thoughts on all that sort of stuff. If you're new here, subscribe. Click to my channel, check out all the videos if you want. It's your choice. Anyway, I've been Ethan Netflix Gamer, and I'm signing out. Peace.